Hey guys, welcome to the Commander Lounge, and today we got for you another Commander deck. Meow, this is something a little different. If you guys saw an earlier Kitty Cat, I bought the whole Kitty Cat deck, whatever it was called, for Ferocious, whatever. And I built an Azan deck with it, but what I really wanted to do was build a Cat Tribal deck really bad. So, this is my Mirri Weatherlight Duelist Cats and Taxes deck. This strategy is mainly a mix between it's mainly cat tribal, just getting a bunch of kitties out and beating face, scratching face. It's that, and plus it has other side strategies of doing some tax effects that mainly protect you against other faster tribal strategies. So now let's get into the deck. We have Mirri Weatherlight Duelist, Selesnya 1 for a 3/2 cat warrior with first strike, and whenever Mirri Weatherlight Duelist attacks, each opponent can't block with more than one creature this turn, or this combat. As long as Mirri Weatherlight Duelist is tapped, no more than one creature can attack you each combat. Okay, so Mirri is really good in this whole strategy because not only do you go wide and make sure you get all your creatures through, but it's also kind of like a taxing effect. After she's done attacking, if she's still alive and is tapped, no more than one creature can attack into you, which actually strays away other tribal strategies from going wide and attacking you. They'll usually go after somebody else. The only thing you have to really worry about at that point is a Voltron kind of strategy. So yeah, let's get into the rest of the deck. We're going to do the utility lands first. We got Gavney Township. If you guys are playing Selesnya with like creatures, you guys definitely want this card in your deck. You can tap to add one colorless, or you can pay Selesnya and two colorless or two generic and tap it and put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. So it's nice to make my kitties even bigger and scratch faces harder, so that's why we run it. Next is Temple of the False God. Just ramp. Reliquary Tower. There is synergies to draw a lot of cards through playing a lot of cats. I think it's good to have no maximum hand size at that point, so that's why we run Reliquary Tower. Next is Tectonic Edge against Problem Lands. Don't leave home without it. Same thing with Strip Mine against Problem Lands. Next is Scavenger Grounds against Graveyard Strategies. Nice way to hate on Graveyard Strategies. This is one of the newer staples from, I believe, is it Amonkhet or Hour of Devastation? I don't know. The card's great, though. I mean, if you guys don't worry about your graveyard as much, staple, you guys might want to run it. Next utility land is Mosswort Bridge. A lot of our stuff is pretty cheap, but it's cool to hide away a land, and it's not that hard to get to power 10 or greater across all my kitty cats, especially when I'm pumping them a whole bunch. So, might be able to get a big spell for just 1 mana doing that. So, that's why we run it. And I got the cycling lands. We got Tranquil Thicket. Late game, if you don't need a land drop, you can just cycle it, try to get something better. Same thing with Secluded Steppe in the other color. Pretty sweet. Next is Stirring Wildwood. This is my only non-kitty in the deck. I really want to keep it kitty-centric. All kitties, all the time. So yeah, I just think it's important to always have a man land, though, especially if you're on the aggressive strategy. I think it's solid, especially after a Wrath, to kind of keep trying to get in damage. So now on to our other lands that tap for both colors. We got Scattered Groves, which is sweet because it's a forest plains, which can fetch up through some things. Can be fetched up. If you're looking for a forest or plains, that's not basic. And it also cycles, which is sweet. Selesnya Sanctuary. I'm not really a huge fan of the crew lands, but I said why not. So we're running it. Path of Ancestry is sweet. This is a newer card from the last Commander set. I finally get to use it in a deck, which is nice. Enters the battlefield tapped, unfortunately, but you can add any mana of your commander's color identity to spend, cast the spell. And whenever it's spent that shares a creature type with my commander, I get to scry 1 after casting it, which lets me, kind of dig for the more pieces that I need. Next is Grey Pelt Refuge. There is a little bit of a gain life theme to this deck. There's some cards that synergize with gaining life. I think there's actually only one, but I was like, that's fine. We'll run the lands for that reason. Blossoming Sands, same thing. Temple Garden's nice because it's the forest plains, and you can either shock yourself or have it enter the battlefield tap. Horizon Canopy. Guys, if you want to build this deck and you don't have the funds to buy Horizon Canopy, you don't have to buy. You can just put like the Guild Gate in or something. But I really like it because the amount of life that I'm gaining, the pay 1 life, is not a problem. In late game, I can sack it to draw a card. It's just very efficient, and I got lucky and opened it in Iconic Masters Booster Pack. So yeah. Next is Ash Barrens. Ash Barrens is sweet because it's like it's like a fetch land kind of. It's a basic land cycler, so you make sure you hit your lands early game, late game. You can it's aggressive, and you can just tap it right away. Same with Naya Panorama. Panorama cycle is my favorite cycle of fetch lands, especially in Commander because it's budget, and it's nice because late game you can it's aggressive. You can just use it and tap it right away, or early game you can fix, which is sweet. Next is Sun Petal Grove, awesome. Most of the time it's going to enter the battlefield untapped, which is sweet. Command Tower, staple, taps right away for the colors you need. And last but not least are the lands. I believe it's 7 and 7. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it's 7 plains and 7 forests. Trying to keep them pretty even as possible because our commander is a low converted mana cost, and we want to get to our commander as quick as possible since he's pretty powerful. Next are the kitty cats. Now, I didn't order them in functionality. I ordered them by converted mana cost. I thought that'd be easier. I'll just go through why I love these kitties. Alright, now the first one is Jungle Line. 1 mana, 2/1. We just want to get as aggressive as possible. It can't intercept. I believe that means it can't block. And it says summon creature, but it's a kitty cat. I looked it up. It's a kitty cat. Wild Nacatl. No, we don't have mountains in the deck, but it's always going to be a 1-drop 2/2 for the most part, so we run that kitty. If you guys know Wild Nacatl, you guys should, because you've probably seen it in Legacy and Modern, probably mainly Modern, but it's an aggressive kitty flan. Next is Lone Lion. Lone Lion is another aggressive kitty flan for 1-drop for a 1/1, but if you control a forest, it is a 2/3. Give it some butt. Alright, now on to some life-linking kitties. We got Sacred Cat, 1-drop. I really like because after a wrath happens, I can just embalm it, have another Sacred Kitty. And then, guys, from the Magic 25, Savannah Line got a reprint. Could be a Pauper staple, but we're running it in our kitty tribal deck, and the art's awesome. I love the art. That line looks ferocious. And it's a 2/1 for 1, so it's an aggro kitty strategy. Alright, here comes a Taxing Kitty. I didn't know this was a kitty until I got the deck. You guys might know this from, I think it's in Death and Taxes, or Maverick, or whatever. It's Leannan Arbiter. It's 1 white, 1 colors for a 2/2. Players can't search libraries. Any player may pay 2 for that player to ignore this effect. I really like this because early game, I know late game it might not be a factor as much, or it might just mess with the mana, but early game it's really good because it actually keeps people from doing like Demonic Tutors right on turn 2 for the Soul Ring or whatever they want, the usual plays you see all the time with tutors that I hate. But anyways, next to our other 2-drop kitty, we got Enlightened Ascetic, which is a 1/1 cat monk, and when it enters the battlefield, you may destroy target enchantments. There's ways that I can reuse and abuse this effect to just keep on destroying enchantments, so that's why we're running it. And it's a kitty, so why not? Sally Pride Mage, another great kitty that you've probably seen in other constructed formats, but it is a Selesnya 2/2 Exalted, and you can sacrifice it to destroy target artifact or enchantment, which is nice. It's nice to have those effects on a stick. Leonin Relic Warrior is 2 white for a 2/2, more cats. When it enters the battlefield, you may exile target artifact or enchantment. When Leonin Relic Warrior leaves the battlefield, return the exile card to the battlefield under its owner's control. So it's a nice little, almost like Oblivion Stone effect through a creature. Next is, one of our other lifelink, one of our payouts for going lifelink with some of the kitties, because there's a lot of stuff that kitties do. Kitties do a lot of different things. And one of the things they do is gain life. There's a lot of ways that they gain life. So having a Pride Mate's really good because it keeps making him really, really, really big. Which no matter what, you're making all the kitties big without lifelink. So it's just a good ad. Okay, next is Leonin Sky Hunter. It's 2 white for a 2/2 flying. It's just flying. I packed in pretty much every cat that could fly, because that's our big problem, is that we don't have a lot of kitties that get in the sky. Not many kitties like to ride on Drake's back, but some of them do. So we're going to run the ones that do. Fleece Main Lion is a beater. It's Selesnya for a 3/3 monstrosity 5, and when it's monstrous, it's hexproof and indestructible. So you can just put all your eggs in this basket, kind of get this really huge, and then be like, psh, rats? Who needs rats? And plus, he looks like Beethoven with his sweet wig, if that is a wig. I don't even know. Let's keep going. Next is Hungry Lynx. 2-drop, 2/2 cat, and All my cats have protection from rats when this is out, and at the beginning of your end step, target opponent creates a 1/1 black rat creature token with Death Touch. So you can get political with this. You can start giving people rats that need it when they're blocking other aggressive strategies. And then whenever that rat dies, all my kitties get a +1/+1 counter on it. So it beefs up all my kitties. The art on this is amazing. I love this card. Alright, next is Metallic Mimic? Whatever. Metallic Mimic. I'm dumb. Okay, so it's 2 mana for a 2/1. When it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Kitty. Or cat. Metallic Mimic becomes a cat. Each other creature you control of the chosen type enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. So they're going to get counters and get bigger. Dorn Pouncer is just 2-drop, double strike. This is good against After the Wrath. I can eternalize it, turn it into a 4/4 double striker, which is pretty scary for a kitty. Next, in 2-drop, Oreskos Explorer enters the battlefield, search the library for up to X planes, where X is the number of players who control more lands, and you reveal those cards, put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. So it's a nice little way to ramp. Unfortunately, it only ramps planes, but that's fine. It's a kitty cat. White main line. Now, you guys are going to notice that there are going to be some kitties in this deck that actually, they have a lot of effect of returning creatures you control to its owner's hand. And the cool thing about it is that I actually think about like all those cute cat videos, those funny cat videos. Whenever they get scared, they jump up really high and jump back. It's kind of like what I'm doing with my kitty cats. I do that in this deck, and I actually use it to abuse it to actually trigger a lot of ETB effects via enchantments and other kitty cats. So White Main Line does that. It flashes in, and then when it enters the battlefield, I have to return a creature I own to my hand. So yeah. It's a 2/2 also. It's pretty sweet. Mirror Entity, one of the scariest, baddest kitties ever, which is not really a kitty, but it's changeling, so it is a kitty. Yes, it is. It's 3-drop 1/1, and I can pay X at any time to make my creatures become XX and gain all creature types until end of turn, which that doesn't matter because they're all kitties. So they're all going to be big, fat kitties. That's a nice way to win the game is through Mirror Entity. Stalking Leonin. 3-drop for a 3/3 when it enters the battlefield. Secretly choose an opponent. You just write it down, I guess, on a piece of paper. Reveal the player you chose at any time, and then exile a target creature that's attacking you if its control was the chosen player. And I can activate it only once. It's pretty sweet though. Sky Hunter Skirmisher. This is a flyer that I really need. That's a cat, but also it's double strike. So when it gets pumped up through various effects in this deck, this Sky Hunter could be swinging in for lethal at times. Next is Avian Changeling. It's a cat, not so cat, shapeshifting cat. That's a flying 2/2. Need the flyer, so we're running it. Next is Prowling Serpapard. Guys, it's a cat snake. It is a cat snake. And not only that, it can't be countered, and my other kitties can't be countered when it's out. It's great. It's great. Fleetfoot Panther, another bouncing kitty. It's Selesnya, 1 colors for a 3/4. It's Panther, kitty cat. It flashes in when Fleetfoot Panther enters the battlefield. Return a green or white creature you control to its owner's hand. So once again, more cats jumping out of the way of the fray. Next is Bramaz, King of Oreskos, one of the most expensive kitties in the deck. I think it is the most expensive kitty in the deck, but it's a beater. 2 white, 1 colors for a 3/4 legendary cat soldier, Vigilance. Whenever it attacks, put a 1/1 white cat creature token with Vigilance onto the battlefield attacking, and whenever Bramaz blocks a creature, put a 1/1 white cat creature token with Vigilance onto the battlefield blocking that creature, so it brings out the kitties. Next is Adaptive Automaton. You know, it's a construct, but when it comes in, it turns into a kitty, and it pumps all other kitties, so why not? Pride Sovereign. It gets 1/1 for each other cat you control, so it's going to get pretty big pretty quick, and you pay a white, and you can exert it to create 2 1/1 white cat creature tokens with lifelink. So pumping it and bringing out more kitties that have lifelink. Alms Collector. Remember when I told you guys that a lot of strategies are really good when, you know, the main ways to win games, I think, in Magic is card advantage. If you can out-card advantage everybody, usually you win. So when somebody does that, I'll just flash in this Alms Collector and be like, nah, bro, you ain't gonna draw a lot of cards. We're both gonna draw 1 card. So it makes it fair. It's a kind of a taxing effect. I also have, because I'm going the taxes route, I need some enchantments for that. I run a lot of enchantment. Well, not a ton of enchantments. I believe it's like 15 to 16 enchantments. Because of that, I thought a Johnny's Chosen would be a good go-wide strategy, since we're not doing the usual cat strategy of using equipment. we decided to use this, which Johnny Chosen, 2 white, 2 colors for a 3/3, and whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, put a 2/2 white cat creature token onto the battlefield. If that enchantment is an aura, you may attach it to the token, which I don't think that's a thing, that second part, but we'll be making kitties. Jazal Goldmane, 2 white, 2 colors for a 4/4 legendary cat warrior first striker. You can pay 5, and then attacking creatures you control get X until turn, where X is the number of attacking creatures you control. So this is another way we win. We win through either Mirror Entity or Jazal Goldmane. That's the way we win through kitty cats, through the actual cats. There's other ways to win outside of that. Next is Feldar Guardian. This is just a strong card. I don't have any infinite combos in this deck with this card. You guys should know what it does. It's a nice blinky kitty. But you know what it does is it gets more value out of my ETB effects, and that's why we run it. More bouncy kitties. They like to bounce. They jump high. Teamer Sabretooth is sweet. It's 4-drop for a 4/3 cat. And it's cool because when a Wrath happens, I can pay 2, bounce one of my important kitties back to my hands, and then give this one indestructible so it survives the Wrath effect, which is sweet. So that's why we run him. Meow. Next, we've got Healer of Pride, 4 mana for a 2/3. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 2 life. It'd probably be good to run the other Soul Sisters, but they're not cats, and this one is. A little expensive, but you gain more life eventually. Alright, next is Regal Caracal. 5-drop for a 3/3. Other cats you control get +1/+1 and have lifelink. Sure, I want all my cats to have lifelink. That sounds fun. When Regal Caracal enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 white creature tokens, whatever. Makes more cats, so, this is one of those cards we don't mind bouncing back to keep going wide, or don't mind bouncing back to protect, and then, start going wide with our strategy. Quasali Slingers, this is Aura Shards in a kitty cat. This is insane. 5 mana for a 3/5 cat warrior with reach. And whenever Quasali Slingers or another cat enters the battlefield under control, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. I like that it's a May ability, so you don't have to destroy your own things. But it's super, super good with our bouncing back kitties to our hand and then playing them again to keep triggering our Aura Shard-like kitty. And our last cat, which isn't actually a cat but makes cats, is White Sun Zenith. It's really good. 3 and X makes X 2/2 white cat creature tokens, and then shuffle this card into your library. It's just great after a Wrath to kind of have this card when you have a lot of mana and just explode kitties all into the battlefield. Now, next is way of getting more kitties out. Kindred Summonings is really good when you're going the aggressive plan and you get to the mana quickly. It's 7 mana, choose a creature type, cats. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal X creatures cards of the chosen type, cats. Where X is the number of creatures you control of that type, cats. Put those cards onto the battlefield, then shuffle the rest, the reveal cards into your library. So it's a nice way, like if I have 5 cats, cast this card, I'll reveal the top cards of my library until I reveal 5 cats and puts them in. Almost like a Genesis Wave. Almost like a Genesis Wave. Genesis Wave is 3. It's a staple in green. You guys probably know this card. It's 3 green and X. You put X into it, reveals the top X cards of your library, and you can put those cards on the battlefield as long as their converted mana cost equal to X that you put into it. So it's really good after a Wrath also to just put all your mana in and then try to spit out more kitties and be like, yeah, I'm back with kitties. Alright, Door of Destinies is pretty sweet. It's 4 mana for an artifact. Choose a creature type, cats. Whenever you cast a spell of the cats, put a charge counter on Door of Destinies. Cats you control get +1/+1 for each charge counter on Door of Destinies. This is really good with my bounce effect. Bouncing things back, bringing it, casting it again to keep triggering Door of Destinies. Make my kitties even bigger. Next is Cathar's Crusade, absolute staple in white. If you're playing any creature deck in white, you should play this. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. I've seen this card get out of hand so many times. This card's so good, and it's really good in this deck too. It's another way of going Anthem. Another way of winning through like overrun effects without trample, outside of Jazal and Mirror Entity. So yeah, these are our win conditions in enchantment form. That and Beastmaster Ascension, which it's flavorful because there's kitties on Beastmaster Ascension, which if you guys don't know what this card is, it's an absolute staple in green, especially if you're going wide with creatures. It's whenever a creature you control attacks, you may put a quest counter on Beastmaster Ascension, and as long as there are 7 or more counters on them, creatures you control get +5/+5, which is usually one swing. You'll get this effect. You won't play this out early because people will instantly destroy it. You play it when you're going to give them all +5/+5, which is nice. Next, more enchantments, because we like enchantments with some of our synergies. We have Burgeoning. Burgeoning is a broken card. 1 green, whenever an opponent plays a land, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. It will just spew out. This is one of the best turn 1 plays you can have in Commander, I think, because it just lets you spit out lands and then lets you explode on your next turn of things to do. Now, we got a couple more ramp kind of things. We got Cultivate. Cultivate's just efficient, being able to grab 2 basic land cards, put 1 in your hand, 1 out in battlefield tap. Kadama's Reach is the same thing, does the same exact thing. Sky Shroud's claim's pretty good. I think I'm going to replace it because the only card that I'm missing in this deck right now is, I think it's called Descendant's Path. But this card's pretty good until I get that card. It's 4 mana, search your library for up to 2 forest cards, put them into play, and then shuffle your library. So you can grab your Temple Garden and the other cycle land that's a Forest Plains, and you can put them right out, making sure your colors are perfectly fixed. Next is Into the Wilds. This is, I think, is an underrated card, but it's because a lot of people run Oracle of Moldiah, but because that's not a kitty, we run this instead. Into the Wilds is 4 mana. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may put it onto the battlefield, so it's a nice way of ramping and also fixing the top of your deck like Oracle does. Alright, next is Mirri Wake. 5 mana. Creatures you control get +1/+1, so it's Anthem effect, and it also doubles all of my mana. Whenever I tap it, I add a similar mana that can produce. Sylvan Library is just great enchantment with card fixing. It's good card advantage. You can either take a lot of damage, draw 3 cards, or just fix the top of your deck, like almost like a pseudo Brainstorm effect. Lifecrafter's Bestiary replaces Crystal Ball in this deck because it's amazing. Even though you only scry 1 and it's 3 to cast, whenever I cast a creature spell, you may pay 1 and draw a card. Because I have a ton of kitty cats, I want to play kitties, pay for more kitties to draw. And that's what we're doing. Herald's Horn. I've been waiting to play this in a tribal deck. I mean, I have it in some tribal decks, but I haven't been playing a lot of tribal lately. But I'm excited to play this one. When it enters the battlefield, choose kitties. Kitties spells you cast cost 1 less. And at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. If it's a kitty, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. That's what it should say in this deck. Just good card advantage for kitties. Slate of Ancestry is another underrated card, I think, in tribal strategies. 4 mana for an artifact, and then you pay 4, discard your hand, draw cards equal to each creature you control. So you can draw a ton of cards if you have a ton of kitties, and keep spitting out more kitties. Vanquisher Banner actually replaces, what is it called? Staff of Nin. This is a first. Staff of Nin goes in every deck usually, but not in this one. Vanquisher Banner is that spot. It's 1 less to cast. Choose kitties. Kitties get +1/+1, so it anthems them. And whenever I cast a kitty, I draw a card. So it's like a glimpse of nature effect. It's ridiculous. It's so good. I'm excited to play with this. Next is Zendikar Resurgent. 7 mana. Like a Mirari's Wake effect. You know, you can double up all your mana. And also has a Glimpse of Nature effect, which is whenever you cast a creature, draw a card. Which is insane with what you want to be doing with your kitty fleas. Alright, now for some of the removal and control effects. A little bit taxi stuff. Now I know I don't have Path of Exile or is it Path to Exile? I don't know. Between the game and the cards, I've been getting messed up with that. Or Swords to Plowshare. I don't have those because I prioritize enchantment removal. Just because of the enchantment synergies and bouncing synergies I have in this deck. So, Songs of the Dryad is a great form of removal. It turns a permanent into a forest, which is funny. So that's 3 mana, enchantment aura. Don't put them on your 2/2 cats that come out. Banishing Light is just it's like a functional reprint of Oblivion Stone that keeps you from doing broken things like Oblivion Stone can do. So we have Banishing Light, and then we have not Oblivion Stone. I'm sorry, guys. Oblivion Ring. So yeah, we got Oblivion Ring, which does pretty much the same thing, except you can abuse this more at instant speed, but we don't in this deck. Face Fetter, 4 mana. When it enters the battlefield, I gain life. Trigger Primate. Enchant permanent, can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. So this hoses some generals. Like, put this on a Kranko and they'll be pissed. So it's awesome. Next is my Wrath effects. We don't run too many Wraths because we want to go wide, but when things get too crazy, we run Planar Cleansing, which is sweet. Destroy all non-land permanents. And Hour of Revelation, which does the same for essentially 3 mana, which is broken. It's insane. So yeah, those are our scared buttons. Next taxing effect, another way to hate on Graveyard, is Rest in Peace. Gotta have it in that enchantment form. A lot of people probably hate this card in Commander, but because I'm going the enchantment route for certain synergies, I really like this card, and I don't really worry too much about my graveyard. Now on to some more of the enchantment taxing effects. We have Ghostly Prison, which when I'm attacking out at people, I don't want people attacking me back with all their creatures. If I don't have Mirri doing its thing, this is backup in Ghostly Prison, where they have to pay 2 for, each creature attacking, which a lot of times they're not going to full swing at you. Next, another synergy with all the enchantments I'm running is Sphere of Safety, which is 5 mana, and creatures can't attack me. Each creature that attacks me, they have to pay X, which is X is how many enchantments I control, which is why I run so many enchantments in this deck and why I prioritize removal in enchantment form. Next card, I actually put this in last minute. I really like this combo with Mirri. I think it's really good. If I can't attack later game, but I need Mirari's second triggered ability, I can actually use Glare of Subdue to tap him to tap another artifact or creature, which is funny because I can mess with Mana Vault and make people take damage off of Mana Vault and not get the ramp, which is hilarious. Or, I can actually shut down as long as they don't go Hexproof or Shroud through Voltron strategies, which they usually do. But this is another way to just stray away from people attacking me with their one big creature, as long as they're not Hexproof or Shrouded up. Glare Subdue is a good combo with this card. I believe there's 2 more. Okay, these are ways of protecting my kitties. I like to make my kitties indestructible against wraths, and then I can populate so I can make more kitties if I have tokens of kitties. And then Make a Stand, which could also be used to be like, oh, they're so huge, and I'll be like, oh, now they're indestructible and a little bigger, and then win the game through that. That'd be cool. But a lot of times we're going to be using these in response to a wrath that isn't, exiling. So yeah, guys, that is my Mirri Weatherlight Duelist Cats and Taxes deck. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if I'm missing something in the deck. Just let me know what you guys think about kitties in general. I was going to say, like, hey, if I own 3 cats, so I'm allowed to build this deck, but if you guys are posers, you guys probably shouldn't. But I'm just kidding. If you guys are interested in scratching faces with kitties, give this deck a try. I will have a link in the description below of the deck list, and yeah, check it out. Let me know what you guys think. See how much it is. Be like, oh my god, that's expensive kitty deck, or oh my god, that's cheap. I think it's actually pretty budget once you get around like Horizon Canopy and stuff. There's some other kind of pricey cards, but it's not too expensive when it comes to the whole Commander world or Commander economy, secondary market, fun stuff. But okay, guys, I'm gonna go now. Take it easy. Bobble bobble.